Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm taking a look at another high-grade Build Divers Re-Rise kit. So far, 6 kits have been released, and half of which have been made up completely of Core Gundams. And that is exactly what we're taking a look at today. Today we're taking a look at the Core Gundam Real Type Color with the Marsfour unit. But as this is just another variant of the Core Gundam, we pretty much know what to expect from this right here. But anyway, let's get into it. Also, this video right here would not be possible without those absolutely awesome people over at hobbylink Japan, so if you want a Core Gundam of your own or for any of your gunpla needs, check out that link down there in the description. Now here we go. So first off, starting right off with the box, and I will mention that in this review I'll be looking at the Core Gundam Real Type Color and Marsfour unit, as well as this right here, which is the Marsfour weapon. So once again, just like with the V2, this is not included. So these particular weapons, the ones you would have seen in the anime, like what you're seeing right now, do not come included, sadly. Definitely my biggest down point about this kit and the V2 is it's not really a complete kit. But anyway, I will mention that this right here costs that there, and this right here will cost that there. So, of course, for both, it's the combined cost. It's not crazy, but at the same time, it's odd that this right here is an option set. But anyway, I'll talk about this when I'm talking about that. So for now, what we're looking at is this. So on the first side of the box there, we've got a rear and front picture of what it will look like finished. There's a bit of a blurb there as well. If you want to pause the video and read that, feel free to do so. Flipping around now to the other side, and here we've got all the information of what's going on inside of the box, which of course is the Marsfour Gundam, the Marsfour unit, the Core Gundam, and the rest of what's on the right-hand side of that side there is literally just an advertisement for what you can buy separately. Also, you can put it together half and half with another kit if you want to, just like what you can see there. So straight away there is an overview of absolutely everything that comes in the box. Once again, it doesn't come with the big old close range weapons that we saw in the anime, that's in the separate box. But what we do get in here is the Core Gundam, this time in the Real Type colors. I'll talk about that when we're looking at the Core Gundam. The planet system, this time it is in the Marsfour colors with the Marsfour parts. And that right there is the Marsfour unit. As for weapons and equipment, we've got that Core spray gun, the half a shield that we've seen with the last 2 kits. The beam sabers, we've only got 2 handles in here, but we do have 4 different beam effects, too short, too long, as well as that small little white backpack adapter. All of the accessories we will come back to take a look at later, but for now, straight into the aesthetics of the Core Gundam. Anyway, so first off, we're going to be taking a look at the Core Gundam. Once again, it's small, cute, and awesome, just like the other iterations we saw before, but this time around, it's in the Real Type color. And as for what that means it's based on this, the RX-78-2 Real Type color. So I'm not sure if this is absolute garbage or not, but I can remember reading somewhere that this was the original intended color for the Gundam until Sunrise decided on the white, blue, yellow, and red color scheme, but that could be absolute garbage, so don't quote me on that one. Anyway, one major change from that, of course, is the fact that this has white on it instead of grey. But all in all, this is one cool, low-key color scheme compared to the other 2. And speaking of the other 2, I'll pop them up right here so you can compare them all so you can decide on which color you like the best. And the reason I'm showing a clip and not actually showing the actual Core Gundams is because these guys are armored up and I'm not getting them naked just for this review. I'm keeping them like this so we can check them out when he's armored up. So anyway, as for the main colors this time around, it's predominantly white and black, which is a pretty cool combo. The red used on here is a much darker shade, almost maroonish. And flipping around to the front once again, the detailing on here is in orange, and the clear piece this time around is in a clear orange. So all in all, I'm definitely digging this colored Core Gundam. And one bit of a departure from the last 2 is the fact that the eyes and the head cameras on this are in yellow, whereas on the last 2 versions they were in the same shade of green. So for all the ins and outs of the Core Gundam, like its articulation, build quality, etc., you can check out the Earth 3 Gundam review where I looked at that in a little bit more depth, and there's no real point in going through it all again, so you can just check out that video, or we'll continue right now. Also powering through the review of the Core Gundam itself, as for the equipment you can use with the Core Gundam, we have that Core spray gun. This is the same as what we saw before, except this time it's in a jet black. We've got, once again, a yellow foil sticker for the sight there. And by once again, I mean just like his eyes and his head camera, not the other iterations of this guy. Just in case you are curious, no, this color of plastic does not match with the V2 either. So still, the particular version of the Core spray gun that works with this weapon right here is still only the one that comes with Earth 3. Once again, in here we've got that tiny little shield. It's got 2 3mm holes in the front of it for using stuff with. It can be held in the hand any way you like, but this is the way I prefer to have it held. So one thing I will mention here that I did not mention in the other reviews, and I've noticed it quite a bit since the first time I took a look at Core Gundam, is the hands are not the greatest. So while playing around with it, etc., I've noticed that they just tend to fall apart a lot. For example, you try and stick the shield in without supporting it, and you can just end up popping the fingers off like that. The actual reason for this is this only connects on this one little peg where the thumb attaches. This little section up here, that just kind of lines it up. It doesn't actually hold anything. So that does mean these hands right here are not the strongest. So when you are attaching stuff into his hands, I recommend you hold it quite tightly above and below like this, so that doesn't go popping off and getting lost, like this one on my V2 that's gone into that mystery black hole that Gundam parts tend to disappear into when you drop them. So hopefully I'll find that sometime, but gone now. When that shield is not in use, also in here we have that little backpack adapter with the 3mm hole sockets there. You can use this with anything that has 3mm holes, including backpacks, or in this case, you can just store the shield on back, just like that. Also in here we do have that pair of beam sabers. This time around the beam effect is in yellow. That's what two of them look like attached right there. Of course, using the short beams with Core Gundam. When you're not using them, you can just pull out the beams as usual, flip them around, and they attach onto these little pegs around here on the backpack. But honestly, there isn't anything else to say about Core Gundam right here that we haven't said before. So that means it's time to check out the Marsfour unit. So anyway, there is a quick look of what the Marsfour unit looks like. The internal structure of this is exactly the same as what we saw with the last two units. Of course, the main difference with this armor is the color, of course, that it is in red. The vast majority of the armor, once again, is the same, and all that's really different is all those big, old, spiky white pieces sticking out on the legs, back of the arms, and the shoulders. So all in all, this is going to look pretty wicked when it's on. So all that's left to do now is to put the Marsfour armor onto the Core Gundam here. So first off, grabbing that Marsfour unit, taking off the backpack segment, this rear skirting segment, as well as the front skirting segments. In order to attach the front skirting segments, just like before we flip up those two tiny skirting sections, stick the Marsfour skirting sections in underneath like this. As for the rear skirting armor, that just slots into the butthole round back, and the backpack just attaches up on, well, the backpack. Grabbing that Marsfour unit once again, popping off the legs, that's leg number 1 and leg number 2. As usual, to attach these to the Core Gundam, you just flip back the feet of the Core Gundam, flip out the feet on the Marsfour legs, then slot them up into the section that was the ankle of the Core Gundam. Simple as that. Next up then, we take off the forearm extenders with those claw shields, as well as these red square sections which make up the armor for the rear of the hands. Now popping the hands off Core Gundam, we take these little red armor sections, slap them onto the back of the hands, just like so. Stick those hands now into the forearm extenders with the claw shields on them, and then pop them back onto Core Gundam. Next up then, we're going to grab the body armor, that's these two sections right here. Back to Core Gundam once again, we need to slide out his shoulders like this to make room for that armor, and the armor slots in underneath, and then on top, just like so. Once again, back to that Marsfour unit, grabbing the two big old shoulder sections with those big claw-like spikes. They just slot on easy as that. Absolutely simple. And lastly then, we take this V section here from the front of that planet system, and then just slap it up onto his forehead like this. And I have to say, this right here is my favorite V-fin on one of these Core Gundams so far. Looking great. So finally, there is a quick spin of the Marsfour Gundam, and this red really pops off. This is a much nicer red than what we would have seen last time with the new Zeon Gundam. It's definitely a lot better quality than what we saw with that. It isn't too glossy, it's got a bit of a between glossy and matte finish. So from some angles, it does catch the light nicely, but at the same time, it's not too satin. I am definitely digging all the spikes on this. It looks great down there on the shins, on the shoulders, and on the forearms. Looking savage. So anyway, there is Mars with the rest of the Sailor Scouts, Core Gundam so far. And honestly, physically, for the most part, they're all quite similar. The biggest difference, most obviously, is the color. This guy's red, which stands out a lot against the other two, which are quite similar. So essentially, to sum them up, Earth 3 is blue and a little more all-rounded and streamlined compared to the other two. V2 is a greeny blue that's blocky and stocky. And Mars right here is a fiery red with yellow eyes and's got a whole bunch of spikes up the shoulders, the arms, and the lower legs. All in all, looking pretty awesome. Honestly though, I'm still waiting for Bandai to announce an orange one to round out the lineup. All in all though, looking pretty cool so far. So once again, just a closer look at the details that make this different from the other kits. Of course, that is that new, almost horn-like V-fin, those super huge double spiked shoulder armors, this shield on the back of the arm with this retracting, or should I say, swing out claw segment. However, I will mention this is the only weapon that is unique with this kit, because it doesn't come with the Marsfour weapons, which we're about to look at very soon. And the last difference then is those cool, once again, spiked feet and those nice spiky sections down there on the shins. So that's pretty much all there is to say about the Marsfour Gundam as it comes in the box. So what we're moving on to now is this right here. This is the Marsfour weapons. So everything I mentioned from here on out in this review is sold separately in this box right here. Right there in the front of the box, we get a general idea of what we get in here. That is 2 of the same sword, 1 big old sword, an axe, and some attachment points. Of course, the intended use is with the Marsfour Gundam, but as with any of these build fighters or build divers kits, customization is the name of the game, so you can use it with pretty much anything, and there's one of my all-time favorite build fighters kits, the Jim Jim. So that's for what we get in the box. We only get 2 runners. As you can see, I've already cut everything out and put it together. And when you do put it all together, this is exactly what you get in the box. So let's take a look at everything one by one. So the first style of weapon we have in here is this right here, which is the Slash Blade. We don't have one of those, we have 2, exactly identical, the pair of them. So there is an example of what they look like attached. So these are a pair of fairly sizable blades. These also have a section in here for using with the beam effect. And hold on. Not again! Seriously? SB9A1 included with HGBD or Earth 3 Gundam sold separately. So, the beams that come with the Marsfour Gundam are not the right color for using with this. You need the pink ones that came with Earth 3. So yeah, it's the V2 color inaccuracy shenanigans all over again. I'm not gonna labor time on that, but that's a bit lame. But anyway, there is an example of what it looks like with a yellow beam attached. That's the one that's included with the Marsfour. And there is what it looks like with a pink beam that came with the Earth 3 Gundam. But I assume these are exactly the same as what we've seen with some of the high-grade Age or 00 kits, so you might have a couple lying around. Also, I will mention that I said that these are identical. They are not, because you cannot put the beam into the other one. It does not fit. It does not have the slot place for it, so these swords are slightly different. And the reason for them being slightly different is one can attach into the other just like that, and that is pretty cool. And this right here, the combination of the 2 slash blades, is referred to as the over slash blade. However, I'd say that would look a little bit better turned around like this. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. So next up in here, we've got the Heat Rev Axe. Pretty simple, kind of like a big old Heat Hawk. And we've also got the Heat Rev Sword. And if you remember this guy right here from the anime, if you don't, here's the scene. This whole section heats up to a red hot state, but this doesn't have any kind of beam effects, heat effects, or even a sticker to do that. So if you want something that resembles that, you're either gonna have to paint it or just have it like this, I guess. Once again, we have another weapon combination in here. These both attach together just like that. And there's an example of what Marsfour looks like holding it, as well as the other weapon combination. So this is quite a pair of hefty swords that come in here. These are pretty awesome. Just look at the size of those. So the last thing to talk about with these weapons is storage. And in here we get 2 different storage option backpacks, so let's check them both out. Before I actually talk about those, I will mention this right here, which is a variant of the standard Core Gundam backpack, but as you can see, it does not have the vernier or the 2 parts for attaching the beam sabers. This of course is for using with other kits, like it shows right here in the instructions, of it being used with the absolutely awesome Jim Jim. Of course, you could use it with the Marsfour here, but you don't need to, so we're gonna put that to the side. So the first backpack option we have in here slots on just like that. The Rev Sword and Axe combo attaches on down here. And then the 2 slash blades attach on either side of that up there, like so. So that's pretty much the first combination. That is what that looks like. So popping all of that off. And the second option is this larger, wider back section, like this. And in this format, the weapons all attach separately, so there is the Rev Sword, once again down bottom. This time though, the Rev Axe attaches in the middle like that. There's a view from the side. And then those 2 slash blades attach on, pointing this direction. So not outward facing like we would have seen the last time. So there we go, that is that option. So in essence, they are quite similar, but at the same time, a little bit different. So it is always cool to have some options, but this backpack right here also has extra pegs either side, and if I detach that, you'll see that we also have 2 pegs down here. So what that means is you can combine this backpack with this one right here that we got with the V2 weapon kit. So you can attach the V2's thrusters down here, but that does mean you have to remove this sword. So that's a bit of an odd design that it can't all be used at once. So that pops on like that. The weapons from the V2 weapons can pop up there. That's that rifle. On the other side then there is the missile pod. So because we had to remove the Rev sword, I did attach it onto the Rev axe, so it does fit. And all in all, look at everything that's going on. This is one all-out crazy backpack. It even looks like it has a shark fin now. But anyway, there it is with all of those weapon packs attached. That's the V2 weapons and the Marsfour weapons, so that is pretty cool. I will mention that this doesn't hold on too great because it's only designed to hold on the axe, but it does look pretty rad when it's on there. But all in all, that is cool that they're all compatible. Really cool. So that right there is it for the review, and once again, the Marsfour is just as good as the Earth 3 was, which means it should be gold tier, but once again, this is not a complete package, so I'm bringing it down to silver. But I will mention that to some people that might be an absolute plus. You may want the Marsfour separate to the actual Marsfour weapons, or just the weapons, so in that kind of regard, if that's what you want, that's awesome. But for me, I like to think that you're actually getting what you see in the anime, and right here, with the box on its own, you're not. You do need the weapons, which are sold separately. Still, I do feel that the Earth 3 is the best out of the bunch. You do get everything that you need for the Earth 3. There's no weapons sold separately. It's just all included in the box for pretty much the same price as what you'd pay for the V2 or the Marsfour. Once again, I will mention, do not let that silver tier ranking put you off or fool you. Silver tier means it's exactly what I'd expect from a high grade, a 2019 high grade. It's just all this kind of absolute garbage with the things included, things not included, like the beams that you need are from the Earth 3 is just a little bit on the silly side. But regardless, hands down, this is an awesome kit in an absolutely awesome color with some awesome spikes. However, if you do want one of these of your own, the Marsfour weapons, or any gunpla that you desire, there is a link down there in the description and you can get yours at Hobbylink Japan. Anyways, always, thank you so much for watching. Consider leaving a like, it does help out the channel quite a bit. And as always, make sure to come back for more gunpla reviews. See you next time. As usual, this video would not have been possible without each and every one of you guys who watches my videos, and those of you who support me on the channel memberships, as well as on Patreon, including Caleb Engelhardt, Frank04484, Tyler Sanders, Bullwig, Vex, Forged Horizons, Kaiser721, NQG420, and Craig Jerry.